Hi everyone, welcome to shelf 13 of the Shelf by Shelf review. Yeah, I've changed the format a little bit for the rest of that room just because at first I thought, I can do it on the floor, and then my back really complained. I'm getting old, I don't have a great back, and it really didn't like being sat on the floor trying to sit up straight, engage my core and all that, and it just really wasn't going to work. So I'll do top shelves as normal, looking at the shelf, table permitting. I only have so much room in here, but bottom shelves, I'll bring them onto the table and just talk about them. But you can see a photo of the shelf now, so you'll be able to at least look at what the shelf looks like in its normal form, and then I'll just take the games off and talk about them. It's just easier for the health, okay? So on this one, number 13, let's start off with Snowtails. Snowtails is probably my second favorite, if not my favorite racing game. It's fighting constantly with downforce as to which one I like most, but Snowtails is just a nice simple game that works with all player counts. You're dog sled racing, so you're trying to race across these like alpine mountains and go around tight bends and avoid hazards and trees, etc. But the thing I love about this is that it's a simple hand management game where the speed and brakes is determined by these number cards you play down. But if your dogs are in sync, meaning that your two speed dog cards are the same number, you'll go in a straight line and you'll get a bonus. But if your two dogs are slightly off, it means that your sled starts drifting from side to side because one dog pulls faster than the other. And it just leads to some hilarious turns around tight bends and speed management and that, some little fun crashes every now and again. I mean, you don't crash and fall out of the game unless you do really bad, but it certainly is a case of having to mitigate the luck with what cards have I got? Right, well, I better do something with this. And it just leads to some light-hearted moments. Simple to play, you can design a track how you like, looks great on the table. I mean, maybe it's just that slight luck factor that gets in the way of it over Downforce, but then this one is just a more light-hearted theme than Downforce. So both of them I love. I like a good racing game. Snowtails is one of them. Now this one, yeah, I like Dream Home, okay? So sue me. So Dream Home is a good game. It's like great gateway level game. I've got the expansion in here, which to be fair, I prefer to play it with the expansion like every time. But it doesn't really elevate it to that much more than gateway level. With this one, you're building up your house, you're putting these room cards in the house itself, but you draft them from a central board where players can nick them before you, so turn order is important. But you're trying to get certain rooms next to each other for bonuses, build big rooms versus small rooms. So like a 1-card living room is nowhere near as good as say a 3-card living room, and you're trying to fulfill other little bonuses as well. Like with the expansion, you can get blueprints, which give you an objective to adhere to, but they also give you these friends and family cards where if you construct your rooms in a certain pattern, then they come to visit and you get some bonus points that way. Again, just very light, easy to implement stuff. But it's just a cool little theme. The artwork's really good. It's nice and colourful. You can get a game done in the 30-minute time that it's saying. Even with the slow player, you should be fine. And it's 12 rounds, and it's done. It's just a really nice, simple game, and I like it. I like taking it to gateway events, teaching events, and it just seems to hit home. But people have to get past the idea that it looks very cutesy and is called Dream Home. Okay, this isn't like Dream Phone, for example. It's not like one of those weird 80s sort of games that's just for girls or something. No, this is a nice little gateway level game. Give it a shot. All right, this one's probably gonna. Let's do this one actually, because this will shock a few of you. Runestones, Queen Games. This is the only game I have from Queen Games in the collection. Though to be fair, Rebel and Fragile Games, yeah, same deal. Although you could argue they're Asmodee. This one, Queen Games. I don't tend to go for Queen Games that much. They tend to do good games in some respects. I mean, I like Alhambra, that was Queen, wasn't it? I liked, was Amerigo, the Stefan Feld one? That was Queen, wasn't it? I mean, that was alright. The problem with Queen Games is that they are usually bone dry games. And the more bone dry a game is, the less I'm likely to play it, especially if the theme doesn't appeal. This one has that same problem of it's bone dry and the theme isn't really here or there. But what sold this one on me is that this is a deck builder with a twist. And again, give me a mechanic I like, throw a twist on it, and I will like your game more. This looks gorgeous on the table, but what you're doing is basically very straightforward. You're collecting different coloured gems, cashing them in for artifacts of colours, and then cashing those artifacts in for points and special powers. Straight up easy. Get the 65 points, end the game, and see who's got the most. It is very straightforward in terms of its rules. But what's really cool is that the actions to get cards and play them works differently. To get a card, you have to play a certain number of the same magic point color, like so many green, so many blue. And that is going to be different from the abilities that you want to play. And you might want, oh, I want that really cool ability, but it's a blue card. That means I won't be able to use it to buy cards in the future because it's the only one in my deck. And you don't have huge decks. I mean, your deck's only going to be like yay big. It's pretty easily manageable. But the great thing with this is when you play cards, you have to play 2 cards, and the numerical value is important because the lower value stays in your deck. The higher value either goes out of the game or into the main discard pile, depending on what it is. But that's a cool choice to make. Where you're thinking, I want these 2 abilities, but I'm going to lose that card. I really like it. Will I ever see it again? Maybe I should play this one instead and then get it out. And it's not a brain-burning decision. I mean, if you AP in this game, then shame on you. But and that is one flaw I have with this game. I haven't done a review of it. If you want a review of it, then let me know. I might be able to do one. But the problem I have is that with 4 players, I find it can drag because it just goes on and doesn't quite end. 2 and 3 players, though, I think this is pretty solid. And it's just, like I say, simple deck builder with a twist. This surprised me. A friend of mine recommended it. I had it on my shelf of shame for ages. I can't remember when I got it. I think I got it at Essen and didn't play it until January. That's how long it took, or even February. It took me a while before I got it to the table. Glad I did, and it's in the collection. Right, this one's going to shock even more of you. Yeah. So, Luke, a stock market game in your collection. What are you doing? Well, I do have another share-ish game in my collection, although you could argue it's probably something different, but this one is different from the other stock market games. Yes, I hate stock market games. I hate all train games. I hate the idea, all this stuff about Ride to Rails, Irish Gauge, Age of Steam, tramways, mini rails, express rails, X rails, 10 rails, broken rails, derails. I don't know. It's all of these train games I don't like. There's invest in train companies and buy shares and invest in them and then get a reward as... Oh, sounds boring just trying to get the sentence out. This is not like those games. There's no trains. Great, that's always a bonus. But yes, it's share management, but this is a very light share management game. This doesn't have the brain-burning maths in it. It's more about insider trading. It's the idea that you are playing this market board in order to make the most reward, but the way you're doing it is that you are buying and selling shares based on knowledge you have about how the market is performing now and what you know about how the market's going to change. Each of you will have access to information that the other players won't. And you're trying not to give away that information to broadcasting it because you don't want other players to benefit from it. But if you know, say, the orange company is going to go down in the next one pretty harshly, you don't want to suddenly dispose of all your oranges immediately because then the others might be like, in a minute, why are you so keen to get rid of your orange? And it's there's a bit of bluffing, there's a little bit of manipulation, but it's a fairly simple game. Now, this is the epic Kickstarter version, because I enjoyed the game when I played it, and I thought I'd like it, and Kickstarter was the only way I could get hold of it. The only problem is, it now has these expansions in it, which I've never tried and don't know how to use. I need to sit down and learn the rules to this and get it to the table at some point. Unfortunately, the coronavirus has kind of got in the way of that, so God knows when I'll get this to the table again, but I enjoyed it. It's in my collection because I feel like it should be in my collection, but I haven't played it enough times to know if it will stay in my collection, if you see what I mean. But I enjoyed it. This is the kind of weight of share market game I like. You go any heavier than this, and likely I'm going to get bored. So, shelf number 13. Let's get on with the last 3 in that room, and then you can start finding out about all this stuff behind me. Take care. See you next time.